Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. James Haskell, along with my co-host, Glenn Martin. It is preview time, Glenn. Thursday night, we know that there's a game on right now that I'm sure we're all going to be getting to post this show, but it's really time for us to get prepared for this incredible matchup coming up between two great quarterbacks, two great teams, the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. That's what we're here to do. We're here to preview it. Before we get into that, Glenn, how was your Thursday? How's it been so far?
Pretty good. Excited to be here. I will say, today I took a pretty deep dive into the Buffalo Bills, and this is a tough team here, Jimbo. This is going to be no doubt the biggest test I think the Ravens see all season, not just so far this season, but I don't think they'll play a better team all year than the Buffalo Bills. So yeah, this is a statement game. I think this is a litmus test for both teams, and a game that if the Ravens can pull off the win, will make a statement to the rest of the NFL.
Yeah, wait, the Bengals aren't better than the Bills? I thought Joe Burrow was the next Tom Brady.
Joe Burrow better win tonight in a game that's really they're tailor-made to do so, because if they go 1-3, trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. But like you said, I mean, this is going to be an incredible test. And what we're going to do this show to get you guys prepared is cover all of it, from injuries, any roster moves on both sides of the table, whether that's us or them. And then we're going to talk about the matchups offensively, defensively on both sides of the equation. Talk about our breakout players. Of course, we're going to get to our over-under, give you our score prediction, our keys to the game, both offensively and defensively. And hopefully this will give you guys get you guys prepped, get you guys pumped for the game, and give you guys some stuff to look at and to look out for during the game. And of course, as always, we love when you guys participate. So throw your comments in the chat, and we're happy to entertain them. But Glenn, I think we should start with the injury report. I think one thing you mentioned was really good. Right before we started the show, guys, Glenn was like, this injury report is looking a little sweet, which we're happy about. I mean, certainly in comparison to last year. So talk to me. I know everyone's talking about Ronnie Stanley. What do you got for me? Is he playing?
No, I'm going to save Ronnie till the end here.
All right,
gotta do it. But
anticipation, huh?
Absolutely. But I'll start with the bad news. So the bad news is Patrick McCarry and Justin Houston both did not participate. So right now, neither look to be on track to play. But I don't think this is going to come as much of a surprise to people hearing this, considering McCarry, when he stepped on the foot of someone and rolled that ankle pretty good. I don't think anyone expected him to be ready. And Justin Houston's dealing with the groin. I think a few plays into last week's game, he came out with the groin. So we'll continue to monitor that. I'd say Houston has a shot despite not playing because of how veteran he is, and he knows his body. And I think he could go without practice, but I think it's a long shot. But good news is, Jimbo, full participants are as follows. J.K. Dobbins, who came out of last week's game with a chest injury, but full participant in practice, so expected to go. Cornerback Marcus Peters, full participant as he continues to get that knee healthier and healthier. James Prochet, dealing with a groin injury, but he practiced in full. And this is the name we've all been waiting for. Ronnie Stanley, back-to-back days in which he was a full participant in practice, was majority of the time a limited participant in every previous week. So this is the first week we've seen full participation and back-to-back days of full participation. Man, it's exciting. And not only that, but on top of that, we heard and saw Ronnie. We heard him speak. He talked to the media, and he filled in some kind of missing spots as to what's taken him so long to get back. He says, and I quote, "There's something else I had to get done after that first game last year, separate from the original surgery. There was a lower body major surgery, and that's why the whole organization is taking this approach." So, Jimbo, it sounded like this wasn't a reoccurrence of the existing injury. He had a separate injury to his lower body that required major surgery. So that's, maybe we're not being, fair to Ronnie.
Right.
We're talking about him being this long on one injury. It sounds like he had a whole nother issue he had to deal with.
Yeah, certainly. And I also think it's okay that when facts change, one's opinion can change, right? So yeah. I heard that, and I also saw that Ronnie seemed to express a little frustration with, people and their judgments of him and things like that. And one I want to say, because we know Ronnie watches the show, is because we care. Like, if you weren't a difference maker, we wouldn't care. So the fact that people are saying things means that you are a valuable piece of the team, right? So keep that in mind, in perspective, as I'm like dropping wisdom to Ronnie Stanley. People care, man. It's because they care. But also, I also want to give him a little slack at this point because, I mean, understanding that really puts things in perspective. Even if it was just the other injury, you're still concerned about the recovery and things like that. Now you're talking about 2. So you're talking about 3 major surgeries in basically 2 calendar years.
Yeah.
So look, I can't be that upset at him about that, right? Like about taking his time, taking the approach. I wish we would have known. Like, what does it hurt that we knew earlier on? Do you know what I mean? I don't think it hurts anything because it's not like he's out there. Guys aren't targeting whatever that weak spot of his was.
True. Yeah.
So that would have been nice. Maybe things would have been different. I don't know why exactly they handled it that way, but either way, it's exciting to get him back. I'm really interested to see if he plays because they got some boys coming off the edge that that can get to the quarterback.
Makers.
Yeah, 100%. We're going to get into that. But like you said, the big one, Ronnie, what's your take, Glenn? Ultimately, does he go? Does he not go?
Well, he was asked about that, and he said, I quote, "I feel very different. I feel way better than what I was when I played the first game last year. I'm in a way better place. I'm very optimistic, very confident about me getting back to where I want to be." Says he wants to get out there. He's very close, and that we could see him this week. So, man, I'm hopeful. But I will say, if we go by their history and kind of look back at what they did with some of the other injured players as they return, I remember J.K. Dobbins talked to the media, and I said,
Yep.
He's back. He's got to be, because why would they put him in front of the media only to bench him? And then they benched him. Then they benched him. So, and he played the very following week. So this could be a situation where Ronnie goes to them and says, I feel like I'm ready. I feel like I'm not just healthy, but I feel like I will go out there and look like the old Ronnie. And they might say, that's great. That's awesome. Let's give it one more week. You know, that could be just them kind of being really, really safe, because what they don't want is a reoccurrence of last year where he goes out and has an injury elsewhere because his body may be compensating for the weakness or the injury that he's already dealing with. And that puts some further strain on a different part of the lower body, which could have been the reason why he had to get an additional major surgery done last year. So it's clear that they're kind of handling this with oven mitts here. They're being very careful. But man, if Ronnie is thrust back into this game, what a welcome he has. I mean, hey, welcome back to the league. Here's Von Miller, Gregory Rousseau, and the number one defense in football to deal with.
Yeah, it's absolutely a problem. And at some point, like, you know, you got to take the baby eagle and throw him out of the nest. You brought up oven mitts. Glenn, I've got to ask, what theme oven mitts do you have in your house?
What theme? They're just straight, big, black, like thick.
Dude, I only have Christmas oven mitts.
For real?
And I use it all year round because I'm cheap and I don't care. I don't need multiple oven mitts.
Well, I'm a Christmas guy, so I'm all for it. You know, I like the Christmas music. I like the decorations, even though I know it drives some people crazy. Hey, shout out to Dave Cutsale, Don C, Tanja Bowman. What's going on? Shane, my nephew. What's going on, Shane? Shane, man. I'm not talking about Lamar's contract, Shane.
Done.
I refuse to do it. I've done it too much, and I'm not doing it again today, okay? Sean Pisker, what's going on? Adit Mahmood, how's it going? Adam78, just wanted to let everybody know. Sean, oh, good. Sean is home, and he is safe because I'm pretty sure that isn't some of these members are from Florida. So let's hope that everyone is safe.
Yep, I was going to say, absolutely. Let's make sure everyone stays safe, stays protected. Hopefully you guys are out there not getting too flooded or have, you know, losing your home or whatever the case may be. Stay safe. We're wishing all the best for you guys. Ravens flock is obviously everywhere. So, you know, stay safe.
It's crazy. Those videos are...
Did you see the shark?
Dude, a shark going down the middle of the road?
Yeah.
That's like something you see on Sharknado, that ridiculous movie that they make every year. That's not something you see in real life. And then I think I saw a manatee.
And a dolphin, too.
Going down a sidewalk. Like, what? Yeah, crazy.
All right, what do you think of these all whites, real quick?
I like them.
Do you?
Yeah.
I hate them because of the Bengals, but...
Yeah, I mean, it can be hard to separate, you know, them from their uniform. But I do like the all whites. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But yeah, so all right. Ronnie could be back, or he could not be back.
Well, I'm
So
going to tell you guys right here, and I'm going to burst your bubble. I'm going to say it definitively. Ronnie's not coming back. Not this week. He
they're gonna
ain't
do it
coming
just
back.
like
Just like,
JK.
yeah, and just like you said, I mean, why would does John seem to be the type of guy that varies from what he, you know what I mean? Like they usually stick to the program and they're just gonna stick to the program. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but yeah, I
But
don't
this
think Ronnie's
game
coming back.
it could be quite important to later down the season. If you're talking
True.
about if you have any aspirations for the home field advantage, you certainly want to beat the Bills. You don't want to have to go to Buffalo in January to play the Bills. So
yeah,
man, it's a big game. I don't know if John wants to put this game on the shoulders of Daniel Fa'alele against Von Miller and Gregory
we'll just have to
Rousseau.
call him Atlas.
There we go.
His shoulders are big enough.
He is big enough, that's for sure. All right, so let's get into this matchup a little deeper. We're going to talk some numbers. We're going to talk some players to watch, some key matchups. We're going to go over our keys to the game, our breakout players on both sides of the ball. And then, of course, that all sets up our show competition, our over-under competition, which you are all encouraged to participate. And, of course, we pick a fan winner and a show winner every week. So, all right. So, Jimbo, where should we start when diving into this matchup?
Yeah, I think the best thing to do, let's talk about their defense. You already kind of mentioned a couple folks. I'm going to give some stats here, and we'll talk about their defense against our offense. Both excellent units, right? Like, this is going to be high-level football we're talking about. It's pretty crazy when you review some of these stats right here for the Bills. And like you said, it's still bewildering that they lost that game last week. Right now, they are giving up 12.7 points a game. I mean, that's total touchdowns so far. The entire season is 5, which is pretty incredible. They're averaging 57 rushing yards a game, which is also incredible because Lamar's doing more than that himself.
Oh, and you better believe that theirs is coming from their quarterback too.
Right. No, exactly. So, but that matchup is going to be really interesting to see. While people will talk about, the rushing attack from our running back perspective is still a work in progress, Lamar's still churning and burning. So, we're expecting him to get close to 57 himself. Right. And overall, I think this defense is ranked third, I believe, in the NFL overall. And
who's that? The
obviously
Bills?
The Bills, right?
I thought they were first.
First, you might be right. I think they're third in like the pass or whatever, but overall, I think you're right. They're first. And obviously a Leslie Frazier run defense. Now, the advantage I think the Ravens have here is that we know Leslie relatively well. He's been here before. Him and John have a relationship. So not saying that gives an overwhelming advantage, but there are tendencies and principles that coaches carry on, and that they have as a part of their coaching fiber. So I'm hoping we can glean some sort of advantage from there and some guys to look out for, Glenn.
Yeah.
I'm just going to name 3, but there's certainly more than that. Von Miller, of course, we all know. Gregory Rousseau, who you said also already has 3.5 sacks on the year. And Tremaine Edmonds, I think, is an incredibly athletic inside linebacker. Right. Now, advantage to us, not that we're wishing for injuries, but it is the nature of football. They do have some banged up safeties. They lost Hyde for the season. And I'm forgetting the name of the other.
Poyer.
There it is. That I seemingly is also going to miss this game unless you've heard otherwise. But that is an advantage to the Ravens, certainly with our tight ends. So it's going to be a ball game, man. I tell you what, it's going to be interesting. And their defense is going to be ready for it. So how do you think our offense matches up against this defense?
Yeah, I mean, they are a star-studded group. I mean, they're dealing with injuries, but even with those injuries, their entire secondary was injured for the Dolphins game. They had to bring in a bunch of young guys, and then you have a first-round pick in Kaiir Elam, brother of Matt Elam, that everybody remembers here. But let's be honest, Kaiir Elam is playing a heck of a lot better here than his brother ever did. He is a physical specimen. He's a stud, and he's playing well. So, it's not like they're bringing in guys off the street, but they did have, Poyer out, who's a heck of a good player. Tre'Davious White, who is in number 1 corner and under anybody's standards. And then they have, of course, like you mentioned, they lost the stud safety, Micah Hyde. Yeah. So they were missing guys. And even with that being said, even with all those guys missing, they gave up 21 points to the Miami Dolphins, who, by the way, a week before hung a 42 spot on the Ravens. And just for some context there, so like I said, the Ravens gave up 42 to the Dolphins in one game. The Bills have given up 38 total points all year.
Mm-hmm.
So they are a group that even with the injuries, they still, I mean, they held Miami in Miami to, let's see, it was like 216 yards with their whole secondary out, Jimbo. So they are not just a good group as far as names. They're very well coached. Like you mentioned, Leslie Frazier puts together a fantastic game plan. They're good in every way possible. So Ed Oliver's another guy who's been banged up, but if he's playing, he's another pass rush specialist that you got to watch out for. Their linebackers, yeah, you mentioned Tremaine Edmonds, who's got everything you'd want in a linebacker. Instincts, He's got speed, he's physical, he's got it all. But also next to him, Matt Milano is a guy I think gets overlooked a ton in the league.
Well, I'm not worried about Matt Milano in this game.
And why is that?
Because he's just a folding chair at the beach.
What do you mean?
Do you remember what Lamar Jackson did to him?
Oh, yeah. When
he will never come back from that. Never.
But
not in my eyes.
I will say, the guy...
Boom! He just dropped.
Lamar's going to make a lot of people look silly.
I mean,
but
that
other than that, the dude is a monster.
Yeah, well,
I'm telling you.
He will never. No, I hear you. I'm just busting his chops right now.
Tackling machine.
That was bad. That was
bad. But I everybody has some bad moments. I remember Adrian Peterson running over Ray Lewis at the goal line. I think I'll take Ray Lewis more times than not. But Matt Milano is an absolute tackling machine, coach on the field. Like, we hear spoken about a lot of guys. And also AJ Epinesa is another guy we talked about a lot leading up in the draft, who's a pretty good pass rusher.
He's okay.
But defensively, it's if they're healthy, it's hard to argue that they're the best unit in the league. Let's just hope for the Ravens' sake that these guys that are on the mend and hopefully coming back take one more week to do so, because even without those studs on the back end, they're a handful. I'm a little nervous about this one here, Jimbo.
Yeah, I can tell. But come on, let's talk about this offense now. What we got, Glenn, because I'm tired of talking about this defense. Let's get to our boys.
All right, let's get to the offense here in Baltimore. So they average 33 points per game here in Baltimore, which is
not bad.
Yeah, pretty impressive. Let's see. Third down percentage. This has got to get better. 38% currently converting on third down. That's got to be a little bit better.
Last game 45, like DK mentioned. So
yeah, getting better. But 38%, just to let you know the context, Buffalo, 61% of third downs they convert.
Yeah.
So hold on. Do you want me to talk about the Ravens offense against that defense? Okay, so I'll focus on the Ravens offense then. All right, so that's got to get better, but it's on the tick up. 38%. It was 45 last week, so that's certainly on the increase. Passing yards, passing touchdowns. Lamar Jackson leads the league in passing touchdowns with 10 to just 2 interceptions. He's 1 ahead of Josh Allen, who's right on his heels with 9. Rushing yards. The Ravens are averaging 5.6 yards per attempt and 135 overall for the game. But we certainly understand that the bulk of that is on the shoulders of Lamar Jackson. And we did see some running backs participating last week. I know that you weren't going to let me look over and pass over what Justice Hill was able to accomplish. And also J.K. Dobbins in his first return to action. I think we expect him to get better and better each week. But yeah, 5.6 yards per carry is good. But with the numbers Lamar's putting up, that number should be higher because the running backs should be getting their level up. And Lamar is, I think, at like 10 yards a carry. So he alone, like that. He alone should be getting you a pretty good average by himself. The thing that, the Ravens have continued to have to do better is, develop the run game for the running backs and not just making Lamar bail you out. And they continue to build on this pass blocking that they've already done a pretty darn good job at protecting Lamar and keeping him upright. I think they've already done a fantastic job, especially with all the turnover at the left tackle position. But this is going to be their biggest test from the pass rush standpoint this year. So let's see how they fare.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, man, it's going to be interesting. So let's get to Ravens O's Nation real quick, his comment, and then we'll talk about our breakout players and our keys to the game from an offensive perspective for the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens O's Nation says, why do I feel like if the Ravens were an NBA player, we would be Anthony Davis because we always have so much potential and land up on IR. Ugh, Pierce.
Oh, yeah, I guess we didn't even talk
Oh
about
yeah,
Pierce.
Michael
Yeah.
Pierce got season-ending surgery. I think we kind of knew once it was between rehab and surgery. You can't blame him for getting the surgery and getting it over with and out of the way. So unfortunate because, and we'll talk about our defense and how we compensate for that. But really unfortunate, but hoping for recovery because at the end of the day, he signed a 3-year deal here, right?
Yeah,
So
and
we want him
yeah, it's
back
tough. And he was playing. More importantly, he was playing
so
fantastic.
well.
Like
Yeah.
a guy who, he's not like Brandon Williams where he's only effective against the run, and he's not a shifty small guy who's only effective in the pass game. This guy was very, very good at both, so he's gonna be missed.
Yeah, big time. Big time. Well, Ravens Nation, we're gonna do our very best to manifest the very opposite.
I tell you, I think the Chargers are more like Anthony Davis.
And
So
both in LA.
star-studded, and every year they're banged up. I mean, Bosa's now going on IR.
Yep.
What else is new there?
Yeah, seriously.
The injury to Herbert. He's got the cartilage in his ribs that's broken. Keenan Allen's out, like always, again. They got so much freaking talent, and yet I think they're 0-3, Jimbo. It's
My
crazy.
goodness. Yeah, absolutely. Well, as long as Eckler keeps getting me points on fantasy, they can be 0-17 for all I care.
That's right.
But keep giving him the rock is all I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, let me talk to you about I struggled with this, Glenn, because normally it's pretty easy for me to pick one key. Their defense is so good. I really struggled. So if you will bear with me,
all right,
I'm going to give you a few keys to the game. These keys to the game, envision like a set of janitor keys walking down the hallway, like mopping, and there's like 80,000 keys on his side. You can hear him from like 2 miles down the road. Yeah, exactly. So there's a few of them here, and one of them is finish, right? So like right now they are basically doubling their output as far as points they score in comparison to points they allow, plus some, right? You're talking about 12 and 30 plus of their scoring. So the Ravens cannot afford to get down there and settle for 3. We cannot, because they're going to put up points and they're going to stop us, right? Like we're not going to be 100% in the red zone, but we need to do our very best to get points, to finish with touchdowns. The other one is mitigate the pass rush. I think this is important. I think the way that we do that, look, you talked about most likely it's Falele out there, in my opinion. And then obviously we got Moses out there. And they got some edge guys where I think they clearly have the advantage. But I think the way we mitigate this, Glenn, is we pop them in the mouth. Let's get aggressive. Let's run. Let's get this run game going and wear these guys out. Right? I think that's the way that we do it. So that's the other one. And then the last one is you got to win the turnover battle. And the way you do that on offense is not turn the ball over. We cannot turn the ball over because, we have no leeway to give up points to a Josh Allen-led offense. So to me, while those are about 1 million keys, I feel like we have to do all those things. And if we don't do one of them, our chances of losing or increases exponentially.
No doubt. Yeah, I agree with all of them. My only thing was I thought we had to get it down to 1 key, Jimbo. So clearly.
Sorry, I had a mulligan. I had a pass.
You took the rules, Jimbo, and you threw them out the window. Okay. So my job was significantly harder because I had to somehow narrow it down to just 1 key, because I agree with you. They got to do a lot right to come out of this game with a win. But since we're only talking offense currently, I just put control the ball. And the reason being is, that kind of covers a couple things. But the big thing is I think the Ravens offense has to stay on the field as much as possible. The Ravens defense, when, in the first quarter, typically has looked a lot better than they have in the fourth quarter. And I think some of that is that the Ravens haven't been possessing the ball like they had in years past. Currently, they're averaging 27 minutes and 40 seconds of time of possession, which is well below the standard since Lamar has gotten here and what the Ravens are used to. I mean, they're losing the time of possession battle on the season right now, which is totally backwards from what we see from the Ravens. Yeah. And the Bills are kind of where I would expect the Ravens to be. They're averaging 34.5 minutes of possession time to just 25 for their opponent. Excuse me. I think these numbers have to flip because the Ravens offense cannot be afford to go out there and have 3 and outs and have turnovers, like you mentioned, have penalties that force them into punting situations, because the defense is just going to get run ragged. This is a throw first offense. This is a team that runs only to keep you honest. And literally that's they do the bare minimum of running.
Yeah. And it's their quarterback.
Yeah, it's their quarterback or the occasional pop from the running back. Like we saw Zach Moss pop a 40-yarder last week. But other than that, nothing from the running backs. And typically that's what you'll see. So they use their short passing game as their run game, an extension of their run game. So there's no excuse to not win that battle when you're a team as like the Ravens who want to run the ball. They want to possess the ball for as long as time and run that clock. There's really no excuses if you want to be a team that is known for running the ball, playing against a team who doesn't give a damn about running the ball. So in my opinion, you cannot leave your defense out there for 35 minutes because Josh Allen's just going to dice you up. The thing that's got me most nervous here, Jimbo, Matt Jones threw for over 300 against this defense. Joe Flacco threw for over 300 against this defense. What the hell is Josh Allen going to do against this defense?
Yeah, didn't Tua throw for over 6 or something stupid like
500.
That? Yeah.
So can we all agree that Josh Allen is better than all three of those?
It's an argument. No, I'm totally kidding.
Like, so, and I think we can all agree that the only team that has weapons even comparable that we've played so far is the Dolphins. But by the way, when the Dolphins played the Ravens, just to give you a bit of a further context, when the Dolphins played the Ravens, Tyreek Hill had 11 catches for 190 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Fantasy points.
Yeah, so Ty Hill goes 11 for 190 and 2 touchdowns. Waddle goes 11 for 171 and 2 touchdowns. When they played the Bills, those same 2 players had, Waddle had 4 for 102, and he popped a 45-yarder. Tyreek Hill had just 2 catches for 33 yards after having 11 for 200 against the Ravens. So it just makes me a little bit nervous. And yeah, I mean, Josh Allen had 400 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, no picks in that same game. So, man, I just think the Ravens have got to possess the ball. The running game has got to be there, and Lamar has to just keep being Lamar because certainly he's been good enough, and he will be good enough if he just plays his game. But let's get into the defensive side.
We didn't give our keys to the game. Or our breakout players.
Okay,
and I'm glad to talk about that because what you just talked about really leans well or bodes well for my breakout player. Because I know I'm going out on a limb here. I know he's just coming back, but I think this is the game where JK shows who he is again and really turns the corner in this whole recovery and puts the narrative on he's still ramping up. He's still doing this. No. JK is going for 100 plus all-purpose yards, not simply rushing. But I think he goes for 100 plus all purpose, and I think he gets a touchdown. I think his impact on this game will be great. I think he will certainly help in third down of the passing game, and then help, like you talked about, control the time of possession in the rushing attack. So I think JK is going to be my breakout player of this game. I realize it's a bit of a stretch, but I'm riding with my man JK.
I like it. I mean, it's only a matter of time, right, before he has that game.
Yep.
That breakout game, and why not be it this time?
And remember,
rainy.
As I was going to say, yep.
Yeah, so they could lean on the ground game more than
and his balance is excellent.
Yep.
I mean, he just makes a guy slip. He's off to the races,
Yeah, and those guys can't, Von Miller, Rousseau, they can't rush the passer when the ball is being ran right at them. So let's hope that you're right and JK goes off. But I have Rashad Bateman, and the reason being is I love this guy's ability to run after he has the ball in his hands. I think he is fantastic. I heard him joke about how he watches Lamar Jackson tapes as a way to draw inspiration to further his yak yards. The move he put on that guy last week where he was on the left sideline, called a short little pass, 8-yard pass, put a guy in a blender and turned it into a 25-yarder like nothing. He's obviously showed the top end speed the week before when he hit, was it 21 and some change miles per hour on that long touchdown against the Dolphins. I want to see him get the ball in his hands in space more often this week. I love the overall yardage and touchdowns, but I need to see his volume of receptions and targets go up. I think this guy is a true number one. He's a stud that needs to just break out. And why not be this game when you're going to need to score points? Why not let this be the game that you really break out and announce to everyone? Because I'm still seeing the massive disrespect for this receiving core. I've been loving all the hype that Lamar's been getting, but damn if they still aren't pooping all over the Ravens receiving core and saying he's doing this with a bunch of Jimmies and Joes, and he's talking about all these guys with Diggs and Gabriel Davis, and I get it, they're good, but man. When is Duvernay and when is Bateman going to start to get some love? Because right now, Jimbo, they're still referring to them as Mark Andrews and the rest.
Yeah, when are they getting some respect on their name, man? Come on.
You know? So maybe this is the game Bateman just forces them to recognize his name.
I like it.
And he goes bonkers.
I like it. It's funny. I thought you were about to say Jimmy's and Glenn's. Which also would have fit well, right? Like,
yep, that's true.
But no, I like it, and I agree with you 100%, man. I hope Bateman has now the weather does get me concerned as far as the passing game goes, and how many opportunities these guys get. But
short yards, man. Let him do it with his legs.
All right, so and that's so crazy that you say it really quick before we switch gears here, because before the season, would we have said, "Oh man, we love Bateman's threat"?
Right, we didn't really know
his yak ability, right? Like, yeah, like you said, we didn't really know what it was, but now we've seen it, and we want more of it.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, so let's turn this thing over and let's talk about, we've talked a little bit, but let's really dissect their offense, and then let's get into the Ravens defense, how they match up, give you some stats and otherwise talk about our keys and then our breakout players, and then we'll get right into our competition. But Glenn, why don't you kick us off here? Talk to us about this Bills offense a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Give me some overall rankings and things. And really, I think what we're looking for is some guys to look out for, at least in your opinion. Because I got some guys in mind. I'm sure you do as well.
Yeah, this is a group that if you're a Bills fan, I'd be, pretty happy with. Of course, I'm a Ravens fan, and there's only one group that's been just a bit better than the Bills, and that's been the Ravens. So I'm, of course, very happy. But this Bills team is absolutely no joke. They average 30 points a game. They've scored a total of 11 touchdowns so far this season. I mentioned it earlier, but I really want to emphasize they are 61% on third down conversions, Jimbo. That is absolutely insanity. Like, you shouldn't be that good. I mean, so needless to say, that's by far number one in the league. It's not even.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's not that close. As far as points go, let's see. It looks like they're third in points right now. Of course, the Ravens are number one. Just want to keep mentioning that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're 61% on third down. Insane. Like, that's where you make your money. Then fourth down, 67%. They've converted 4 out of 6 fourth down attempts. So conversions wise, man, they're tough. Josh Allen's tough. But let's get into some more of how they do all that, because they average 329 net passing yards per game. So that includes if there's a sack or any negative plays. So they average 329 through the air, Jimbo. That's net passing yards allowed per game, by the way, for the Ravens. 353. They're the worst in the league. But yeah, I know you're going to be talking more about the defense, but
still, that's scary.
It's really, really bad. Rushing offense, not great, but when they do it, they're effective because a lot of it's their quarterback, who is probably the second most mobile quarterback in the entire league behind Lamar Jackson. I think if I had to pick another quarterback to run with the ball, I'd pick him, because he's this. I mean, I think it was Calais Campbell or it was one of the defensive front seven members called. He's the size of Odafe Owe.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is.
Yeah. I mean, he's basically Cam Newton when he runs the ball.
Yeah. So you can't sleep on that part of his game either.
Right. You respect Cam Newton as a runner?
You're damn right I do.
You know what I mean?
You're damn right I do.
You got to respect, like you said, you got to respect Josh the same way.
Absolutely. And just to give you a bit of a comparison, they've thrown the ball 134 times and run it 70 times. So, and you got to imagine some of those 70 weren't designed runs. They were Josh Allen turning a pass into a run. So they are a team that clearly wants to throw the ball way more than they want to run it, but they'll run it just enough to keep you honest. And they do got some talented guys. Devin Singletary out of the backfield, better out of the backfield as a pass receiver, but can get the job done as a running back
Super
as well.
shifty.
Yeah, exactly. Super shifty, can run great routes, good hands, and yeah, can make you miss. And then, your guy, Zach Moss, another guy in the backfield who can play. And then James Cook, the younger brother of Dalvin Cook, was their running back selection this season. So they got 3 guys that I think most people would know who they are. And they could get it done. I just think that's just not their offense. But if you had these running backs in our offense, I think they'd be successful as runners too. But that's just not what they're asked to do.
Yeah, and one of the things, talking about our defense really quickly, I think that one of the things that makes this offense, one of the many things that makes this offense so difficult to defend, Lamar has the same effect, but Josh will be super aggressive on second down because he knows if it's a 3rd and short, he can run and I mean he can reach out, right? Like if it's a 3rd and 3,
just lean forward and fall.
Yeah, you know what I mean? At some point it's very his confidence and ability to convert himself is so high that he's like, screw it, we're going for it on second. You know what I mean? So it's just this element of never being able to relax at all. They got the pressure on you at all times. And there's a few players I want to talk about and get your thoughts on. You named a few of them, but obviously Diggs, he's a Maryland guy, so I think that adds a little bit.
Every other game, I'm rooting for him.
Right, and I think that adds a little bit to it, right? Like coming here and having some family around, things like that. Obviously Josh Allen, but one of the guys I think we need to focus on is McKenzie, right? As a slot receiver and a shifty guy, like how do we mitigate the impact that he can have on this game? I mean, I don't know if I want a Kyle Hamilton on him. And obviously, as long as everyone's healthy, we need Marlon on the outside while he plays well in the slot. We need to dedicate that resource to the outside because they have, solid outside receivers, Diggs being one of them. How do you see them, the Ravens defense being them, attacking, this or strategizing to limit his ability to break the game?
Yeah, it's a tough challenge. Isaiah McKenzie might not get the attention that Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis get, who are both very, very talented. And even Dawson Knox, their talented tight end. Isaiah McKenzie is a matchup nightmare for most teams, including the Ravens. I think that the one thing they have that could help the Ravens this week is that Gabriel Davis, I saw him running some routes and then he pulled up with an ankle injury this week in practice. He's been dealing with an ankle injury. So if he's not able to go, that's a big loss for the Bills. It allows the Ravens to focus more of their attention on Isaiah McKenzie instead of having to worry so much about with Diggs and Gabriel Davis. And don't forget, they signed Jamison Crowder over from the Jets, who I think a lot of people forgot about because he was with the Jets, but one of the best route runners from the slot position in all of football. Just had injury concerns, but outside of that, even with the Jets, when he was healthy, he was putting up fantasy numbers for those who had him on their team. So for McKenzie, what I would say is, if Marlon's going to be on him, I want him pressed up against him, smashing this little fella at the line and not let this guy get off the ball. That's what Marlon should beat this dude up at the line and make sure whatever timing he might have with Josh Allen on that play, that it's at least disrupted. But my worry is if they turn him loose, if Marlon can stay with him in just flat out foot speed.
It's so hard because it's funny. Everyone's initial strategy is exactly like you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, look.
Yeah, not everyone has Marlon to beat you up.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But that also means that, like, his entire career, he's had a multitude of guys try the same thing. So he's got some tricks in his bag to use their over aggressiveness, just put a 1-2 on him and he's out the door, right? So that always gets me a little concerned because that can be an easy, like you said, a short pass that can turn into an 82-yarder because he just left the guy in the dust because he was overzealous about his ability to get physical at the line. But I mean, like you said,
Brandon Stevens would make me nervous because he's going to try and do that and he might get left.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But like you said, if you play off, I think that's what you're referencing, right? Like,
well, if you play off, then you got to run with them. So
right. So it's like, man, it's
tough.
6-1, half dozen the other. And I think he could be a type of player. In this game, I would say keep your eyes on him for sure. Like you said, Diggs, Gabriel get a lot of attention. Obviously, Allen and things like that. But McKenzie is a guy that can really have an impact on this game. But I want to talk about the Ravens.
Hang on real quick. Dawson Knox, the tight end.
Yep.
That's where I would put Kyle Hamilton. He match
There you
up
go.
perfect against him. He's big. He's long. He can
Take him out the
run with.
game, Kyle.
Yeah, he can run with them. So that's what I would do. And they played him pretty much like a linebacker last week. So let's just let him continue that role and cover Knox. But if it's not Marlon on McKenzie, I want to see Pepe on him. And Pepe's been this close on so many plays. I think he's got the shiftiness, the quickness. I think he lacks the top end speed. So Isaiah McKenzie's kind of a matchup problem for the Ravens. But let's see as a team how they kind of handle it.
Yeah. So I want to say some good and some bad about this defense, but statistically, let's talk about some bad. Glenn, I don't know if you have this in front of you. Over under the Ravens total passing yards given up this year. If you had to guess, 950 over under.
I have it in front of me.
Dang it. I mean, I looked at it and I saw four numbers and a comma.
So bad.
And I was like, wait, so you're telling me that's a 1060?
Yeah.
Over 1,000 yards?
In 3 games.
In 3 games?
Against Mac Jones and Joe Flacco as 2 of the quarterbacks, not Josh Allen.
And with I would bet a lot of money that we clearly have the highest paid secondary in the NFL.
No doubt about it.
To back that statistically, that looks bad. To back that up and add some context, our guys are getting healthier.
Yep.
Our younger guys are getting more experienced. So let's take a second. But I think the other problem is our lack of pressure. And you talked about Justin Houston being banged up. So JPP is a guy we're going to be looking at to see what kind of an impact he can have. Of course, he'll be playing this game. But the other thing I want to mention here is, unlike the Bills, we're giving up nearly the same amount of points that we're scoring, right? So we're first in the league in scoring on offense, but we're giving up 25 points a game, 28 basically, 25.7 points a game right now.
26.
Oh, my bad. Why did I say 28?
Damn, you really rounded up, Jimbo.
Yeah, I'm getting aggressive with the rounding here. The defense isn't that bad. 25.7 rounded up to 26, which is a problem. Rushing, of course, I think we're still there. We're averaging what rushing yards per game?
We're 105 an attempt. That's not good.
Yeah, I mean we're still. Yeah, that's not good either.
You want to be in the 3s for that.
I'm trying to frame this some type of way, Glenn.
Yeah.
Trying to frame this some type of way. You know what? I'll tell you this though. We are certainly improving in the takeaway area.
By the way, Buffalo gives up 2.8 per carry.
Yeah, you know what?
Jiminy.
Well, I'll tell you this though. We're getting our hands on the football.
Now
a lot better than we have in the past 2 years, really, and certainly in the past year. So all that said, our defense is not very good right now, but we have players. Like, let's remember that we're trending towards health. I know that Houston went down. I know that we got some banged up players overall, but I think trending wise, we're getting healthier and healthier every week. So remember that I think every week we continue to get stronger. Remember, my son, who you are. Right? Like, that's what I felt like. But legitimately, though, I think our defense does have a chance, and I think the weather to do big things. I think the weather has something to do with it. And I just want to roll really quick into my defensive player of the game, my defensive key, if you don't mind, because that's a lot to do with the conditions. We've got to make Josh Allen pay when he's too aggressive. I think if we do that once, ideally twice in this game, maybe once is a fumble when he's out there, running around and you punch it out. Maybe another one is an interception. More likely would be an interception when he's trying to, zing that football in a tight window, but we have to make him pay every time he gets too aggressive. That is my singular key to the game defensively.
Look at that. You stayed within the rules.
That's right.
So when talking about their defense, just because, I've been clearly
the Ravens defense you're referring to, or the Bills?
No, come on now. I'm talking about the Ravens.
Okay.
I admittedly nervous, but to your point in how they're getting better, and there's no doubt about it, they are getting better, because I think we all agree that Marcus Williams is the best free agent signing the Ravens have had in quite some time. He's a complete and total stud.
Yeah.
But on top of him being there, before week 3 or after week 3, the top rated corners in all of football, 2 of the top 5 right here in Baltimore. Marcus Peters has a 90.5 grade through this, this portion of the season, which is 3rd in the league. and Marlon Humphrey not far behind at 87, which is 5th in the league. So it feels good to know that right now those two guys are still in the back end of that defense. They're still healthy. And Marcus Peters is only going to get better as the year goes on. And he already had maybe the greatest fumble recovery in the history of football. Not importance, but ability.
Yeah.
And he added another pick to his ridiculous resume of turnovers. So yeah, I mean, that part is encouraging that they got those guys. I just don't know if those guys are enough because boy, oh boy, is Jalen Armour-Davis going to get peppered with targets? Is Brandon Stevens going to get absolutely peppered with targets, Jimbo?
Can they just hold? Can they? I think, look, they're young guys, right? I'm not trying to bag. I think their most important job for this game should be to hold the big jackets that, for Marcus and for Marlon. Like, just be ready when they come off the sideline, put the jackets on them, make sure they stay warm. You know what I mean? That should be the job for them in this game. Watch and learn.
Well, they're going to have to play. They're going to have to learn while they're next to them because the Bills are going to spread you out, and you're going to need to bring all those guys on the field to guard all those receivers. But yeah, it's a scary proposition to think. Just imagine being Jalen Armour-Davis. Imagine being Brandon Stevens more particularly because Jalen, he'll get the hook. They'll bench him. They did so last week.
Yeah.
But Brandon Stevens, it kind of is what it is with this. They're going to roll with him, even if he's getting a heavy dose of targets. Imagine being Brandon Stevens going to that game like, all right, I'm going to have to work my tail off in this game because I'm getting every target coming my direction. And the guy lined up for me is likely got Pro Bowl level talent.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. But you know what, Glenn? I'm not letting you get me nervous. I'm staying.
Okay. By the way, keys to the game, Jimbo.
Yeah.
You cheated. You cheated.
You cheated.
How did I cheat? You took mine.
Oh, wait, did I?
Yeah, it's very similar. I said must take advantage of any and all opportunities to turn them over. Only
Scout's honor didn't even read it.
Okay, I believe you. You're certainly not a liar, so I'll take your word for it. But the one thing, as bad as this defense has been, it's been bad. It's been really, really bad at times. The one thing it's been really, really good at, and the only thing that's kept them afloat defensively has been the fact that they've turned over they've had so many turnovers. Marcus Williams, of course, a big part of that, but a lot of guys have pitched in and been turning guys over. So to me, any opportunity you get your hand on the ball, you talked about how many dropped interceptions did Josh Allen have last year? He better have none on Sunday. Every interception touched your hands, you better pull it. If you have an opportunity, if the ball hits the ground, everybody better look like Marcus Peters did last Sunday. I want to see you jumping on that damn ball and securing it because any opportunity you get to get it, because I don't think they're going to be doing a lot of punting, Jimbo. It's going to be turnovers to stop them.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Brent Lauren says, love y'all, flock up. There we go. Look, Glenn, when you got me thinking, you got me headed down a bit of a path here. You said, how would I feel if I'm Brandon Stevens? And you know what? All you can do is say that guy puts on his pants like I do.
That's right.
And I'm about to show him what's up and show him all the work that he's put in, right? So you know what? I'm feeling good about my Baltimore Ravens. I'm going out on a limb here a few times in our over-unders, and I'm excited about it because I think some of the results will get you guys at home excited and hopefully Glenn a little less nervous. But I want to talk about my defensive player of the game. And I think that not only does I believe he'll have a breakout game, he absolutely needs to have a breakout game, and that is Justin Madubuike. Our pass rush is relatively non-existent. I mean, and you're talking about JPP being out there in his first game as a Raven. Odafe Owe, we got an APB out for him. We have no idea what's going on with him. The inside guys are, I believe, good against the rush. But Justin is really the one that from the inside can make a guard pay and get home at the same time. And so he's got to do it 3-4 times. He's got to get home in this game. And so I believe he will. Justin Madubuike, breakout player of the game, 1.5 sacks.
Wow. Okay. I like it. Okay. So I hope you're right because they certainly, after Michael Pierce went out, could use all the interior pass rush. Watch out for Travis Jones. He had a quiet game, but I was watching him again, Jimbo. Don't worry. If you were a Travis Jones fan, No worries. He's still there. He's still got it. He just had a bit of a quiet game, but I don't think that's going to be for long. All right. So my defensive breakout player, it's going to be Pepe Williams. I feel like he's been so close on so many plays. I love his quicks. I love his aggressiveness, his physicality. He's just been a tad bit late, but I think he's going to unfortunately have a lot of opportunities because I think that not Brian Dable. He went to the Giant. Ken Dorsey is their new offensive coordinator, the former quarterback, if most people sure are old enough to remember. But I think what he's going to do is he's going to attack the weaknesses. He's going to look for the rookies, and he's going to throw it often their direction. So while I think Pepe could give up some stuff this game, I think he's going to get his hands on one ball. And for that reason, he's my defensive breakout.
Hey, player. I like it. I can't be mad at it either. I would love to see, like you said, Pepe, I think has earned it. He's putting in the work and like he's come very close. So I like it. Bit of a shaky branch.
Yeah. I wanted to.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how like his reps will definitely be high this game. So he'll be given opportunities.
Yep.
But this week, Glenn, have you been thinking about these over-unders by Prize Picks at all this week? Because I've been doing some thinking and I want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't triple my money last week. I will openly admit it. But
last week was a funny week.
It was. But this week I'm thinking we can get the job done. Okay. All right. So what I want to do here is I want to run through our over-unders, and then this is about the only thing negative I'll say about Prize Picks. If you don't log into the app for a few days, you get logged out.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to log back in real quick. So let's go to ours, and then we'll come back. But listen, Prize Picks is awesome. I'm going to triple my money again this week. If you guys are interested in gambling on sports, they have really great over-unders. Make some easy money. You already know sports. So go check out their over-unders. Use the promo code 410 and check it out. You can get your first deposit matched up to $100 by using the promo code. It's really simple. And if you guys love the show, you make some more money, get some free money, and you support us without having to simply give money, right? Like it can go towards something that you enjoy and it helps us out. So it's a great way for you guys to do that. But Glenn, let's get into these over-unders from DK here. And like Glenn said, we always encourage you guys to participate. The winner, of course, gets some 410 Sports Talk swag. This I'll say, you can participate in you can submit your answers through YouTube in the comment after the video is done. You can do it on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. You can send us a DM. But
I do have some over-unders real quick.
Ooh, for Prize Picks.
Prize Picks. Let me know what you think.
All right. Let's
I got to be honest. One of them I think is extremely easy. I hate to say it, Ravens fans.
Oh, gee. Is it Josh Allen?
280.5 passing yards.
Well, consider the weather.
Good point. I didn't consider weather when I saw 280.
Yeah.
And I went, I'll give you all of my money. 280?
Yeah, I mean it's
still a throw for 800.
Yeah. No, you're right. But what's your other one? I mean, I think that's still a good one.
Yeah, I mean, even with with his arm talent, I think I'd still take him. How about this? Lamar Jackson over under passing yards 228.
Yeah,
which is right around his season average. But with the weather, does that make you think it could tick down a few?
Yeah, no, I think that number's fair though. I think you can go over and feel good about that. But I want to give you some that I think are going to be pretty easy to top here. Rushing to for the over.
Ooh. JK,
what's his over under?
37.
Oh geez, take the over. Well, I'll tell you what, they have this one of the ones that I picked. I pick 2 every week. I put in $20. I trip my money, makes $60. Eckler, they have the over under at 54 yards.
Total or rushing?
Rushing, but I don't care. He's rushing at more than 54 yards.
I mean, I would expect him to.
He's playing Houston.
Yeah.
They're simply not a good football team.
How about this? Nick Chubb, 88 yards against Atlanta. This guy, Nick Chubb's been running all over, up and down the field.
Yeah, no, that's certainly another gimme. I might have to triple it this week, but this one might be. I don't know what your thoughts are on this one. I feel good about it. I'm also going the over, and sometimes I'll do an over, like an over one and under one. But
Mhm.
I feel it's easier to pick the over, so I try and look for overs. Strategically, that's been working
I
out for
like
me.
it's fun. It's more fun to root for overs than root for unders. Way more fun.
Yes, for sure. So I'm going Jameson Winston over at 225 against Minnesota
Okay.
because
I like it.
Jameson just he's always going to throw the football. Whether the yards are
Yeah.
productive or not, the dude will let it rip.
Oh, yeah. He'll throw it whether you got 4 guys on you or not. He don't give a damn.
Right, exactly. And with that receiver core that he has, he's going to be right a lot more times than he's wrong.
True.
So, yeah, I'm going with those two with the over. I'm going to make $60 this week. I recommend you guys do the same. And so go check out Prize Picks and use the promo code 410. All right, Glenn,
Let's do it. Let's get into our competition, our show competition. Of course, if
let's
anyone
get it.
wants to participate, send us a private message on any of the major social medias, as you can see in the top right corner of your screen, or wait for this live to be done and comment on the video below. The winner gets a shirt. It's as simple as that. So let's go over our over-under competition for the week. We'll start with the offensive over-unders. And since DK isn't here, do we not have banners?
No banners.
No banners. Dang, DK.
So we're going to say it twice.
We needed you. All right, so the first over-under is Ravens third down efficiency. He set the number at 46%. So, Jimbo, will they be better than 46% efficiency on third down or lower?
Yeah, I went under. I think they're going to be lower than 46%. I mean, last week felt like, man, I don't know. I'm going under. That's a good defense they got over there in New England, but certainly the Bills are a different scenario. So I'm going under. What about you?
I'm going under as well. I hope I'm wrong. For the season, they averaged 38%. Last game, they were at 45. So to say over 46 against
like
this
a bit of
defense, it seems like a bit of an easy one in my opinion. But believe me, I'll be rooting for me to be very wrong. All right, next one. Ravens.
Now, really quick, let's repeat that one more time before we move to the next one, just so that folks know what it is.
Sure. So Ravens third down efficiency over under 46%.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. Yep.
All right. Moving on to the next one. Ravens time of possession over under 30 minutes on the button. So will they have more than 30 minutes of possession time or less? Currently averaging 27 minutes and 46 seconds.
Yeah, so I'm going over on this one, and I'll tell you why I'm going over, Glenn. I think the weather has a bigger impact overall on this game than what a lot of folks are anticipating. I know people are talking about it as kind of a footnote, but I think it is a top of the page, top of the email, like urgent. This weather is going to have an impact in this game. So I'm going with over. I think the running is absolutely going to be an imperative part of the Ravens' ability to win this game, and controlling the possession is obviously in line with rushing the football successfully. So over.
Okay. Yeah, I go over, and probably because I just hope that they do. I just hope. I think they need to run the ball well if they're going to be able to make anything, happen in this game with the weather, and they're going to need to score a ton. So I just really hope that they can run the ball effectively. So that's why I'm going to say over 30 minutes. All right. So just to recap, that is Ravens time of possession over under 30 minutes. All right. Defensively, let's go with the first one here. Opponent passing touchdowns over under 2.5. What do you say, Jimbo?
This is where I feel like I'm going out on a limb and I'm getting excited. So speaking to the weather, I think that this causes this game to be a little lower scoring than I think a lot of people are expecting a shootout. I don't think it is that way. I'm going under. Baltimore Ravens defense makes a stand in this game. Under 2.5 touchdowns for one. Josh Allen, boot him out the bank. I think he has two passing touchdowns, but no more. No more.
Wow. Okay. I hope you're right. I'm going to say over. Just judging by what he's already done so far.
Yeah, you take all your stats, you crumble them up, you throw them out the window.
Throw them right in the garbage. Well, I'll be rooting for you to certainly be right. He averages 3 a game, so it's not unlikely, or it's not thinkable that he would only get 2 when he only averages 3. But I'm going to say he stays at his season average, and for that reason, I'm going to go over. All right, so as far as the second, so again, that first defensive over-under was opponent passing touchdowns over under 2.5. So will Josh Allen have more than 2.5 or less than 2.5 passing touchdowns.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into the second defensive one. Odafe Oweh plus Patrick Queen, total sacks combined between the two. DK said it at 1.5. Do they go over or under, Jimbo?
Yeah, initially I was going to say under, but then I started thinking about Josh Allen and how he holds onto the football. You get an easy sack like at the line of scrimmage as he's running out of bounds just to make it a no gain type scenario. I'm going with over. I think that Odafe Oweh shows up in this game, and I think that Patrick Queen is good for one. So I think they could potentially get one apiece, but more than likely, I think Odafe Oweh really shows up in this game. I'm going over.
Okay. Well, they average 2 sacks per game. So I like where DK put this. I'm going to say, now that's as a team, by the way, not just these two guys. I'm going to say over, and the reason being similar to yours. I think Josh Allen likes to extend plays, and I think that could get him into a scenario where Odafe Oweh may not have gotten there in a traditional, against a traditional quarterback, but a guy like Josh Allen likes to hang onto the ball and allow his receivers to get open and create big plays. And I think that sometimes can bite him in the butt. Like, a lot of times it's similar to Burrow. I mean, Burrow, his offensive line gets a lot of the blame, but a lot of it's Burrow hanging on to the ball so daggone long. So I think Josh Allen has a bit of that tendency in him. I also think Pat Queen is, probably the best thing he does is blitz. I love how he blitzes. He's fast. Certainly. So I'm going to say over.
As long as he can get him down.
Yeah, because he's bigger. Josh Allen is bigger and stronger than Patrick Queen, likely. I know he's bigger, stronger. I guess we'd have to see. But yeah, so I'm going to go over, but just barely. I think they get 2, 1 each. All right, so change it up a little bit, make some more clarity, because we had some just to be honest with you guys, Jimbo fought for this win last week.
Oh,
he was not going to let Brad take it away on some technicality, much so that we've revamped the back end of these rules just to make sure Jimmy doesn't get that win taken away from him last week. So the first tiebreaker that we'll use if you're tied after those first 4 over-unders is going to be a total score over-under first. And then if you're tied after that, we will then go to total yards for the Ravens and use a closest to the pin tiebreaker. So, Jimbo, first tiebreaker, total score, over-under 51.5 points. Now, this is total score, so that's Bills and Ravens combined, 51.5 points, over-under.
Yeah, I'm going with under. I think the Ravens come in. I think the total score comes in right at 51. I don't want to reveal my. Well, I guess I can reveal my score. That's fine. I think the Ravens win this one, 27-24. I don't think it's a shootout by any stretch of the imagination. And the Ravens get it done. Win by 3. 27-24. Baltimore Ravens win. So 51 combined points is what I think this game ends up being. So just under.
Just a tick. All right. I'm going to say they go a little over, but I'm nervous because of the weather that you could end up being onto something here. Because traditionally, I think if it's an 80-degree day, did you say over?
Yeah, I would.
Gotcha. So, and that makes perfect sense. But I'm going to say they still go over that total just because both teams average 30-some points a game. And so even where I'm putting them is a bit of a downgrade from what they're typically at. But I have the total score 31-30 for a total of 61 points. And I got the Bills winning this one, Jimmy. I'm not happy about it. But look,
you guys bag on Glenn in the chat, please.
I picked
us the Bills
preseason to lose this game. I have it right here, Jimbo.
Did you write mine down?
No, but we can always review the tape.
That's true, because I don't think I picked us to lose this game. I feel very confident.
Now, you picked us to lose to the Patriots the week before.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear no shit from you. So I have us losing narrowly to the Bills, but I'm hoping that I'm completely and totally incorrect.
Yeah, me too. There's no way we're losing.
Okay.
So,
no way? Okay.
No way. No way. Oh, way.
All right. But if we are tied after that first tiebreaker, we move on to our second, which is total yards for the Ravens. And whoever gets closer, it doesn't matter if you go over. This isn't Price is Right rules. You can go over and still be closer and win. So, Jimbo, do they go? How many yards are the Ravens getting?
338.
You rascal.
338. I'm equating the weather as a dampening factor to these yards. And I think the reason the score is still relatively, I mean, that's still 51 points in the weather if that's an issue. I think because we get a defensive tutty in this game.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I like it. So they average 385 yards per game, and you say 338. Interesting that DK has it exactly 385. Interesting.
Oh, does he?
DK. Thought I wouldn't notice? I did. I have it at 350, Jimbo. I'm right between you two. Now, I think you'll attest that my number was in there before your number.
Well, I changed my number.
Yeah, to screw me over?
Because I felt like 370 was high because I really think the weather's going to have an impact. And I was like, okay, if I believe the weather's going to have an impact, I have to apply that logic to all my answers.
Got you. Okay, so I got it at 350. Jimmy's at 338. DK 385. But let us know what you guys think, because of course we want to announce the fan winner. But every week, let's see. I think the Votto brothers dominated weeks 1 and 3. Tom and Zach
brothers.
Oh, Trotta. Tom and Zach, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And then Tev Dog, who did get back to us with his size and address, was the winner in week 2. Maybe you could be the winner in week 3. So just to recap, make sure you put a comment in our inbox in one of the social media accounts that you see in your top right corner, or wait for this live to be over and comment on the video below.
That's it for us tonight, folks. Go enjoy the rest of this game. Shout out to all you guys who came out. Don C, Nana Rave, Adrian Ortega. You like that? A little spice on that.
Say that again.
Adrian Ortega.
Hey.
Tanja Bowman. All you guys, let's see who else we got.
Don C says, I'm Glenn with one N for the remainder of the show.
For the rest of the show. One N.
Dang it.
Yeah, and what I've learned is that Glenn with one N's are serial killers.
Never killed someone. I promise. Scout's honor.
Oh, geez. Lisa Ann, Lil Trev, all you guys for coming out. We appreciate it. Loyal of the loyal on Thursday nights here with us. But like Glenn said, participate in the over-unders. Check out Prize Picks and make sure to check out our Patreon as well. Wait, shout out to, we have a new patron as well. Let me give him a quick shout out.
I did see that. Yeah.
Mikey Marrero. Mikey Marrero, shout out. Appreciate it. So thank you very much. Great way to support the show. Make sure you guys go check it out. That's all for us tonight, folks. Have a good night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Hey!